Okay, here's part 4 and the content, the detail as to what I'm referring to. I teach public speaking at Hempstead High School and to be community schools. We're not very well supported when it comes to like Google Classroom. We do our own thing with the LMS system that we use, which is through Canvas. So we really are an outlier as to how we do things, and so it can be a bit of a struggle and a challenge. With that, the class, as I said, is public speaking, and there were over 100 students on my roster this past spring. And within that, the first couple of weeks of when we went to online learning, I probably had about 20 to 25 students that would actually engage at some point, would sign on. But it quickly diminished to about 10 students by about the third week within the optional learning setting. And by week 4, it felt more like it was just a social visit. Not a whole lot was accomplished. I mean, I had 1 or 2 students that would actually engage. But again, once they kind of convinced themselves that this was not going to impact their grade, they kind of just threw in the towel. As I reflect back on it, it's interesting. My failure rate still was close to 15% by the end of the semester. I've been bobbing around 20%, which is pretty high. I've used to, in years prior, it was 3 to 5%. And so I really thought that this was an opportunity that students could step up since we cut the grading off in March, and that students would be able to kind of close the gap. But it was really disappointing. I think when the edict came out that it was optional learning, it was pretty much the kiss of death to that motivational factor, which is kind of sad. But that's what I felt like it was, to me anyways. I think some kind of participation should have been required. Now, I think there could have been other routes that could have been done. Even a teleconference could have been done. Even mail, so be it. And not that I'm a big endorser of packets, I certainly am not. But just something to engage students in so they don't feel, so independent, adrift, without guidance or support. We're still seeing that impact today in terms of the apathy, the effort, the motivation, basic skill sets, maturity. Has certainly been impacted by it. So I really think that we couldn't have solved everything by mandating some kind of involvement or engagement. But I think when we made it optional, it really did, it took the wind out of the sails, so to speak. So I think those are probably the main things in terms of the guiding element that just seemed to be, it seemed to erode that impact. Standards were certainly not met. I, again, tried to be creative with them, but it felt like us teachers in our PLC group, it just felt like we were just kind of going a ring around the bowl before we finally got flushed of frustration, disappointment, lack of engagement by our students, and it really was defeating, and that was kind of frustrating. So there you go. That's kind of the first reflection as to what happened in spring 2020, its impact, my thoughts on it, and as to what occurred. Tried various routes within my Canvas pages, the LMS, and just felt like it felt short no matter which route you went. So there you go. That about wraps it up for part 4.